Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Scorpio for October 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and if you would love to step into your spiritual warrior self and connect with your tribe of people who have similar interests, then check out my live event in Sarasota, Florida, called Spiritual Warrior Weekend. You can also attend virtually if you can't make it to join us live in Sarasota. So check it out on my website. What's going on in the month of October? The first thing that I want to talk about is birthdays. If you've watched my videos for at least a year, then you know that I go completely crazy bonkers for birthdays. I love birthdays. Birthdays are a magical time when the universe is more receptive to your desires. The sun in the chart represents what you want, what lights you up. And when the sun in the sky gets back to the same point that it's at in your chart, it opens a magical portal for your desires. So definitely make your 10 birthday wishes. I have done a video specifically on birthday wishes so that I don't miss any important points. So go look for that. It's called Making Wishes Come True, using astrological power periods. But if you just put in Making Wishes Come True, then I go into all kinds of detail about how to phrase them, things that you want to do to maximize your chance of making your wishes come true, and also other astrological power periods. Check that out. I'm calling the theme for this month for Scorpios, Sweet Synchronicities. The reason why I'm feeling this energy for you is because there's massive short-term and long-term energy in your 12th house. And I'm going to talk about that. I promised last month that this month I would talk more about what Jupiter is moving into, because Jupiter changed signs in September. And so it's moving, or at least for early degree placements, it's moving into a different sector of expansion and benevolence and growth for Scorpios. And so basically early degree placements, so if you are a October born Scorpio into the first couple of days of November, you are an early degree placement. You will feel this transit first. But pay attention for the rest of you, because what I'm about to describe is active this month for all of you in the short term and is coming for the rest of you from the long-term perspective with Jupiter on your side. The middle degree placements will experience Jupiter in the 12th in several months, but since you can feel Jupiter transit sometimes up to 3 months beforehand, you might start to feel the waves of what I'm about to describe. And you later degree placements, so that's like so the middle degree placements are, well, back to the early. Early is the October born, or 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your rising sign. And then middle is from about November 3rd through the 12th, or 10 through 19 degrees. And late degree placements are from around the 13th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees for your rising sign. Okay, so what is this Jupiter in the 12th house about? So synchronicities are associated with the 12th house. This house is associated with the collective unconscious. Carl Jung talked about synchronicities in excess, and they're associated with this house. So the 12th house, or the energy of synchronicities, are often a first step. When people start waking up, their consciousness starts sparking, and they realize that there's more to life than they thought, or what they had been thinking, or what they had been taught. Often synchronicities are a first step, and the author, I'm trying to remember his name, James Redfield. The Celestine Prophecy is an amazing book for anyone who's just starting to really light up and seek. And it's a really great book to read as a reminder for everyone who's been on the path for a while to remember these spiritual truths. And the first one has to do with synchronicities. Synchronicities remind us that the magical realms are alive and well, and we only have to acknowledge them as being existent to access the magic that's there. So the more that you remember the magic and the realm that happens in, the dimension that happens in magic, is the way that you activate it more in your life, the acknowledgement of its existence. And synchronicities are this beautiful reminder that there's something tying everything together. There's something that's bigger than the minutia that we get wrapped up in and the stresses of life and the plagues of humanity, there's something greater. So this is a time when dreams become more vivid. Lucid dreaming can start or be enhanced. If you haven't done lucid dreaming or worked on lucid dreaming, it's a trip. It's basically where you become aware of the fact that you're dreaming in your dream, and you become involved and conscious in your dream, and can also help you to set markers in your dream of things that you feel like are relevant for you, that you can remember and go back to those markers when you're awake, so that the dream life and the waking life intertwine in a magical way. Having more waking dreams, so like going about your waking time and then seeing something as if it's in a dream or a deja vu. Also involved here is just the general energy of intuition. There are few transits better for enhancing intuition than Jupiter transiting through your 12th house. And you'll notice that many people who do psychic or intuitive work, myself included, there's Jupiter in my natal chart. And when people have Jupiter in their natal chart, they're just accessing this stuff, all the time. When you have it in transit, you have a short period of time where that natural way of being can be enhanced for you in a way that you can keep for your whole life. So it's very, very cool. This is also a time for many of quiet, rest, renewal, sabbatical. The deep, quiet internal space before the birthing out when Jupiter crosses over the 12th, the cusp between the 12th and the first house. So Jupiter moving through the 12th house brings focus on behind the scenes or in your inner scenes. So anything having to do with your inner psyche, past life regressions, meditation, hypnosis, subliminals, using anything where you focus on your mind as the source of your creation, that's what this 12th house is all about. Something that's often neglected here when discussing the 12th house is that the 12th house is also the house of sleep. Most people do not sleep well, and many people are walking around with undiagnosed sleep issues, sleep apnea, other issues getting into proper REM sleep, etc. Maybe for some of you, the doctor might have recommended a sleep study. But when people think about sleeping in a place other than their home, that kind of puts an end for most people to the idea of doing a sleep study, because people don't want to go sleep in a random place, a hospital, and have monitors on them, etc. Did you know now that they have doing a sleep study at home options where you get a kit in a box and you can send it off and you can do it that way? So if you have had it come up, or you think it might be an issue, or you're waking up not refreshed, or you're not remembering dreaming, or you don't dream and you don't get into that deep sleep, there might be something to find for sleep, and Jupiter being in this placement can help you find that. The 12th house is also the house of addictions and fears. The way Jupiter works is it can sometimes expand things that are not positive in an effort to expand the things that you want. But the way it does that is by causing a big stink or some kind of ruckus, bringing something right into your face that's been kind of a low-lying thing, and making you deal with it. And then by dealing with it, you get to the upper end and get all the wonderful upsides from Jupiter being in that placement. So sometimes in order to properly utilize this transit, we have to deal with major fears. Sometimes these come up whether we're trying to be proactive or not. Fears, addictions are all main themes that could come up here. Remembering that we are all like Harry Potter, slaying our dragons within us, that the people outside are just reflections of the issues that we have inside. Addictions can be amplified for the purpose of getting to the bottom of the issue. This transit can be so helpful for remembering the truth that our happiness comes from inside of us and is not determined by people, places, or things, or events, or circumstances. And the moment we place our happiness in something outside of us, we're setting ourselves up to not be happy, because we've placed our central sun, which is our capacity to be happy, in something outside of ourselves. The best way, the proper way, the functional way to do this is to place your happiness inside of you based on your connection with the divine. And then seeing everything that makes you happy actually as a reflection of your inner happiness rather than the cause of your inner happiness. So this is, there's a really great book called Healing the Addicted Mind. And he uses Course in Miracles principles to help remind us of the truth that our happiness really does come from inside of us. So addictions are a plague of humanity. And to any degree that you have any of these, Jupiter in the 12th house can facilitate this adjustment. So for the middle and late degree placements, you have all of this present and short term and coming soon and for long term, but you still have super strong energy of Jupiter in the 11th house. When Jupiter is in the 11th house, it's like hitting the networking jackpot. When this is happening, you want to be out online or in person at as many networking events or places where you're meeting with your group, your tribe as possible, because Jupiter wants to bring in amazing expansion through connections with other people. And the more you're out there and connecting with people who speak your language, the more chance you have for Jupiter to work its magic through someone you connect with. If you're in your house not connecting with anyone, maybe some effects of Jupiter will come in because you'll just randomly, synchronistically run into someone. But the more you're out involved with people, the more of a chance you can utilize this placement. So it's a time to see and be seen and to connect with as many people as possible in any different ways. It's also a time to see yourself as being on a team, in a group, even if you're, you could be leading groups for some people, things having to do with groups, large organization. And this idea of finding and connecting with your tribe is very big for Jupiter in the 11th house, because the 11th house is like your people. It's your circle. It's your, the people that speak your language. So focusing on that when Jupiter is there is going to expand all of that for you. The 11th house is also the house of New Age and everything metaphysical. So Jupiter supports expansion of anything related to that or any community-based projects as well. The 11th house is also the house of your big dreams, not the ones you have at night. That's the 12th house, which we just talked about, but your big dreams, the ones that you have for your life, for the world. So when Jupiter is in the 11th house, you have all the support of benevolence of this big gas giant expanding and fueling your big dreams. So it's a time to plant a lot of seeds. It's a time to not go small, to go big. And it's a time to get involved with basically to plant as many seeds as possible on the way to your bigger dreams, because the more seeds you plant during the Jupiter transit, the more seeds have a chance to grow over the next 12 years of the whole cycle. Something really cool about Jupiter transits is that when you plant all these seeds in that year that the Jupiter transit is taking place, the potential doesn't end there. You can still, at any moment, have something pop up like, whoa, forgot about that. Where'd that come from? Over the whole next 12-year cycle. So plant as many seeds as possible. So those are the things I have on my mind for Scorpios this month. Now I want to go into the major need-to-knows for the general month of October, for the general transits. I'm calling the theme of October Intense Impetus for New Birth. So we know whenever we birth something, whether it's an actual child or whether it's a creative project or whether it's a new dimension of an experience, anything new often will come with birthing pains. And this month is full of opportunities to have birthing pains, or also described as the pressure that it either takes to step into a new experience, or the pressure it takes to birth something into the tangible dimension, into the this reality, the third dimension. So there are awesome opportunities for launches, for new things coming in. And actually, this is the first month in all of 2016, starting on October 7th and running through around December 2nd, the first few days in December, that we don't have a personal planet retrograde or a shadow interfering with a launch. There have been a couple of other launch phases that I've recommended this year, but neither of those two main phases were completely clear of retrogrades. But we do have to have some time before this time now in October where we were doing some things, launching new things. But this is the period of time now that it's wide open from the perspective of the personal planets being clear of retrograde. So this month is just like such a mixed bag because it has some beautiful aspects, actually even starting at the end of September. September 26th is the first one. I'll go into that. And straight through the end of the month, October 30th is my favorite day of the month for birthing, which I'll get more into that as well. But in between all of those openings for pushing things forth, moving things along, there is a lot of pressure and opposition, challenges. Sometimes it's the challenge, the opposite, that the thing opposing us, that actually creates the intense impetus to do something different. And so we get comfortable in our lives and in circumstances, and sometimes it's easier to just let things be than it is to rock the boat in a way that you would have to be able to create a new life, to birth a project, to birth a new dimension of reality. So this month, it seems like it's completely astrologically designed to bring that pressure that's necessary for the new birth. So if you have brought something out at the end of September, or if you're preparing to launch something, just know you might have a little bit of touch and go before the energy is more clear. The energy gets more clear in November, or actually starting October 30th. So I'll give you some good dates that I really like for launching things. And know that if you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, that you get a more detailed review of the month ahead in writing, along with more dates and things that go on in those dates, and good dates and challenging dates, etc. So I'm giving you some summaries of some of the points here, but you can get more access to that a month ahead of time by signing up for my free newsletter. Okay, so October 1st, we have, well, actually, backtrack. September 26th is one of the most wonderful days of the year for expansion, growth, benevolence, luck. It just happens to be that we're kind of fresh off of Mercury going direct on September 22nd. So it's going to be a great launch date, but I'm putting some conditions in there. If you're launching something that is a relaunch, is a phase of something that is a short-term phase, is addressing something short-term, is like a leg of a journey or a piece of something, then September 26th is fabulous. If it's something that this is the unveiling, the first time someone is ever seeing it, you might want to wait until that October 30th date if you can help it, or at least into October, because you want that Mercury retrograde energy to be more clear when you're launching something for the first time or something long-term. Sometimes we fall under this misconception that you can't do anything in Mercury retrograde or shadow, and that's not true. You can do plenty of things, and you can check out my Mercury retrograde video to see more about that. But the things it mostly dictates is short-term ventures and legal contracts. That you want to avoid is long-term ventures and legal contracts, because the energies are murky and they're subject to change. So that's why I say if you've got something that's like a leg of a journey or something like that for a launch, then September 26th is amazing. Also, ultimately, you always have to trust your intuition and your own flow, because there are sometimes, very often, that personal transits in your personal chart will supersede things in the general transits, so that's a very important thing to note always when you're listening to astrological dates and forecasts. So September 26th is an amazing day. October 1st is another awesome day. Venus in Pisces is making a trine, which is the most favorable angle in astrology, to Neptune in Pisces, and that brings amazing healing and artistic, anything having to do with healing, the healing arts, or artistic expression, and Venus, which rules love, beauty, and money. So that's a sweet angle. October 26th, we have Venus in Sag making a 60-degree angle to Jupiter in Libra. And a 60-degree angle is a favorable angle, but it's one that you often have to do something to activate its full glory. Sometimes trines will come and you can activate the energy as well, but sometimes they'll just bring blessings without you having to do much. But the 60-degree angle that we have on October 26th really wants some sort of action. So Venus combined with Jupiter is like love, beauty, money in a beautiful angle to expansion and growth and luck. So that's a sweet day. My favorite day of the month, and mark this with a big star on your calendar, is October 30th. We have a new moon at 18 degrees of Scorpio. This new moon is conjunct Mercury, and it also trines Neptune. So we've had a lot of new moons this year that have sort of been conflicted or afflicted with their energies because there were difficult angles going on at the same time. And you do have some challenging energy the days before the new moon, but by the time the new moon comes, most of that should be clear. So it's a really great launching pad for anything. You're free of the Mercury retrograde shadow at the beginning of the month. You're free of the challenging angles that dance throughout the month. And so it's just a really nice time. Okay, so there are more dates that I give in my newsletter that are good dates with some more details there too. So some dates that will likely come with growing or birthing pains or challenges are October 5th, the 15th and 16th, the 19th, and the 28th, 29th. And again, like I said, there are more challenging dates throughout the month of October, which you can see the full list when you sign up for my newsletter, but I don't have time to go into all of them. There are just so many. So October 5th, we have Mars in Capricorn squaring Jupiter in Libra. When these planets come together in this angle, it can often lead to overpromising or having overpromised something and not being able to deliver it, or some sort of overextension of action or will. It could also manifest as obstacles in the way of you trying to do something. Mars is action, and you know, when Jupiter is making a difficult angle, it's like you don't have the great expander on your side. It's being antagonistic. So you'll see some things come up there. October 15th and 16th, it's just like a powerhouse of challenge. I think that challenge can be a very, very, very positive thing. So the way I frame challenges, especially if you are being accountable for your own happiness, if you are taking responsibility for the quality of your experience, we can't control the things that will happen always, right? Very often it's completely out of our control, certain destined events. However, we can control the quality of our experience. And when we have challenges, it often causes us to activate that aspect of free will that we have in our charts and stand up for it and do something about it. And sometimes that takes pressure. So on October 15th and 16th, we have this is a yearly event. The Sun opposes Uranus. That makes a 180-degree angle, and it is a challenging angle. So things can come up that can be jostling, erratic people or inconsistencies interfering with something you're trying to do. Mercury is also squaring Pluto, so power figures, someone using their power not in a good way. That could be interfering with your personal expression. And October 16th, we have a full moon at 23 degrees of Aries, and this is a supermoon. This is the fourth supermoon of the year. We have 6 supermoons this year. A supermoon is when the moon is closer to the earth, and you can see it because the moon actually looks bigger. You ever look in the sky and say, whoa, the moon looks huge. It's like right there. That's a supermoon. And we're more affected by everything that the moon affects when there's a supermoon. The gravitational pull on the earth and its inhabitants are increased dramatically when the moon comes closer, especially when it comes into its fullness. So anything that would happen on a full moon will likely be magnified. So that could be lots of emotions, not only negative emotions, there could also be positive emotions. I've had many full moons where I was just brimming with joy, overflowing emotions that were happy. So we're not going to assume that every full moon has to bring some negative drama, although it tends to, because I always use the example of a dog when it gets wet. I love dogs. And when they get wet, they shake, 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 right? And if water represents emotion here, and it does in general, it's like at the full moon, we shake, shake, shake off the excess emotions that we don't process or deal with throughout the month. So this supermoon is in Aries, and one possible challenging aspect of this could bring a health impetus to focus on your health. So could that come through crisis? Yes, maybe, some sort of incident with your health or symptoms or something that maybe they were in the backdrop and then they just got up right in your face. something like that, something having to do with yourself, your self-esteem. A very positive aspect that could manifest with a full moon in Aries is amazing recognition and being thrown out into the limelight with it being all about you. You know, something coming to fruition, something coming to manifestation involving you and what you're doing and what your image is. And, you know, so many people will be cast out in the limelight in this supermoon time. It's really important to note that these transits, even though I give you the dates of them, we can often feel them days before. And the bigger transits, we can feel them weeks or months before sometimes. But the transits that are present this month, you could feel them before, within days before, or within days afterwards. I tend to feel things early. So most of the time when there's a challenging transit, before it comes, it's all right in front of me. And then by the time it actually comes, it's past already. The tension is past. You know, kind of like when you're, when a race car driver is going around a track. And when it gets to the point, if you've ever done like go-karts or anything, then you know you're like excited to go forward, and then you have to slow down because there's that turn and it's awkward, and then you can zoom for the straight track. So that's similar, you know, I liken it to that. So there's a lot of antagonistic energy at this time, but there's also a lot of chance for fruition, and there's a lot of pressure that's building that can facilitate your birthing of new things. The next transit that can be challenging is Mars and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn, and this occurs on October 19th. So when you have Mars, the god of war, and Pluto, the god of the underworld that rules birth, death, transformation, rebirth, atomic energy, get together, all of those traits will likely be magnified. Now, people can use that for good. People can have their ambitions soar during this transit and get thrown into a position, again, of recognition. There's a theme of this. But there could also be negative energy that brews to the point of verbal or even physical violence. You know, people will be on edge, and angers and tensions may run high. So just be really careful around this time. Don't push anything, you know, if there's a situation that could be sketchy, and just breathe. October 28th and 29th, Mars, again, is in an aspect with a planet that it doesn't work well with when it's in a square. So Mars square Uranus, especially in Aries, which is like this fiery catapult of energy, you know. And Aries rules Mars. So there's like, again, this combination of this very forceful, assertive energy. So just be really careful with your actions and other people's actions. And, you know, if things like, I went to the library the other day and I saw 2 security guards going up, like one called the other one, and I was like, that doesn't look like a good situation. I think I'm going to get out of this situation. Like that, you know, just kind of be looking around for things that don't look right or feel right, and distance yourself from them, and don't purposely put yourself in any situations that could be like that if you can help it. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits for October. Again, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog. I have a new blog on there for making powerful wishes for the new moon in Scorpio, specific for Scorpio wishes. You can advance your wishing power when you align the new moon wishes with the subjects of the sign that the new moon is in. So you can read more about that on my blog. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get more details the month ahead about the upcoming transits, often some additional details than I give in the horoscopes. While you're there, if you are looking to expand your monetary earning potential or magnetic potential, check out my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So you can click on my programs and check out my other programs in my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So I hope that you have a wonderful month of October. If you want to become a spiritual warrior, then you can check out my Spiritual Warrior Weekends. I'm having a live and virtual option for that experience in November. So you can see more of that on my website. Hope you have a wonderful month. See you soon. Bye.